Welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada. My name is Bob Alto, and I am your worship associate, and I go by the pronouns of he, him, his. It is said, and here the spirit moves, the soul creates song, hope fills life, and you are not alone. Whether you are a member or a visitor, join us as we explore the connections of spiritual growth and escape our smoky world and its sometimes chaotic, dissonant, harsh sounds. You are treasured in the special community. Love is love. All genders are whole, holy, and good. We are stronger together regardless of age, ethnicity, socioeconomic, or immigration status. Welcome. You are here to be free, to explore and discover the gifts of spirit and community. Welcome. You can join us on speaker view and gallery. You will remain muted throughout the service. Please use the chat box to comment, especially your joys and concerns. At the end of our service, we will invite you into small groups for coffee hour.
It's a delight to welcome you this morning to our annual gathering of the water service. Today we are all about water, and you're even invited today to have a bowl and a receptacle of some water next to you that we will use a little later in our service. I invite us this morning to ponder our relationship with water in its many, many forms. The water that runs reliably from our tap. The water in the Truckee River that flows from Lake Tahoe through Reno, all the way to the indigenous lands of the Paiute at Pyramid Lake. The water in oceans and in pools and in puddles. The water that rushes down a storm drain after the rain. The water that puts out fires. The clean water that is absent or scarce in developing countries. And the water that is being fought over in many locations in our country and our world.
I invite you to join me in lighting our chalice this morning. And so we gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, to others, to the larger life. As we light this chalice, may all who gather here today find our thirst quenched so that we may pour ourselves out into the world.
Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of of despair. Oh, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair, and it doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come.
To share our blessings and our bounty with each other. Since we're not physically together to pass the basket, we can do so virtually by texting 73256, putting UUFNN in the message box and hit send. Then follow the instructions to provide your offering. If you prefer, please send a check or cash to UUFNN at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno, 89511. Either way, thank you for your generosity. Now, we'd like you to know about our Share the Plate recipient. And our Share the Plate recipient for the month is the Village on Sage Street. It opened in August 2019 to provide stability through housing to low-income individuals. This unique co-ed dorm-style facility is comprised of 8 modular buildings with 220 small single occupancy units for individuals who are at least 18 years of age. The village is primarily a foundation and stability for its residents and contribute to the overall well-being of the entire community. There are several services, including financial classes that allow residents to learn how to make themselves financially ready to own a home or to reduce their debt or work toward financial health. There are also AA meetings for those who face sobriety challenges, and other support services include how to obtain food stamp benefits and voter registration. We all know how difficult housing is in Reno, Nevada, and this program provides an opportunity to assist those in precarious housing situations. So I am proud of our community as we make the connections that are important. Please consider that. And now let the offering begin. You join with me in the dedication of the offering to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy. we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. There's a river somewhere that flows through the lives of everyone, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. There's a star in the sky that brightens the lives of everyone, and it brightens the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, it do. Oh, yes, it do. 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 Yes, it do. There's a star in your eye that brightens the lives of everyone, and it brightens the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, it is a sweet song of love that sweetens the lives of everyone. It sweetens the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, it do. And there's a voice from the past that speaks to the lives of everyone, and it speaks to the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. There's a smile in your eyes that shines through the lives of everyone, and it shines through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, yes, it do. Oh, yes, it do. Oh, yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, 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 yes, it do. Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, 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 there's a river somewhere. Yes, there's a flows through the light. Yes, there's a river somewhere that flows through the light, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, it flows the river.
Every year in Unitarian Universalist communities across the United States and the world, we celebrate a gathering of waters ritual, the water communion. And this morning, we join thousands of Unitarian Universalists in this tradition of bringing water from a variety of meaningful places, pouring water into a collective bowl, symbolically honoring the deep connections that we have to one another. This year on Zoom and many other creative ways.
The very first water ritual that began this annual tradition was held in 1980. In the 1970s, in the years leading up to the creation of the water ritual, Unitarian Universalist women began voicing loudly the problem of sexism inherent in religion in general and in Unitarian Universalism. Women were expected to be silent parts of Sunday morning worship and community life. And, as was common, the language used in Unitarian Universalism, including in the 7 principles at that time, talked about men and mankind, and it wasn't inclusive of women. And it will likely come as no surprise to any of you that the way that Unitarian Universalists in the 1970s responded to the concerns of sexism was to start committees and create study groups and pass resolutions. And so it was within this context that a new water ritual was created.
The ritual was designed and led by 2 women for a worship service for an event called the Women in Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. And it was specifically created in a way that to them was much more authentic and liberating. The original ritual was similar, with 8 women coming forward with water from a variety of sacred places and pouring the water into an earthen bowl. And during the ritual, water was seen not just as a symbol of connection, but as a symbol of empowerment. And so we participate in our water communion today, and we thank Lucille Shuck Longview and Carolyn McDade for their vision in creating this ritual, and for the reminder that we can always strive towards more equity and empowerment for all people.
We begin our water ceremony today with this empty bowl, symbolizing all those who have no access to clean and accessible water. We stand in solidarity with all of those who are missing this basic human right.
Every year we gather together in September for our water communion ceremony to re-energize our connections and our community together. This year our water communion a little bit from last year's water, and it represents here.
We begin our water ceremony today with this empty bowl, symbolizing all those who have no access to clean and accessible water. We stand in solidarity with all of those who are missing this basic human right.
Every year we gather together in September for our water communion ceremony to re-energize our connections and our community together. This year our water communion looks a little bit different, but the commitment is the same. We begin the ceremony each year by pouring a little bit from last year's water, and it represents every person who poured water in the bowl last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. And in that way, we bring forward our communal history to now and going forward. And so today, even in our homes, we bring water as a gift of ourselves. You may have water from a sacred or special place that you have visited or that you know that has meaning for you. Perhaps the water that you bring is just from your home. Please take a moment of reflection to consider what the water that you bring today, symbolically or actually, means to you.
We celebrate the coming together of our community once again by pouring these waters. And even so, these waters remind us of the injustice that remains for those who do not have clean access to water. We affirm our commitment to them. I invite you to cup your hands in front of you to acknowledge in a symbolic way that many people around the world long for and thirst for water, but their hands are empty. We renew our commitment to be in solidarity with those who need clean water and to work for justice, knowing that all living beings need water.
You're invited now to pour your sacred water at home into the bowl as we envision that all of these waters are mysteriously connected one to another in our community, and reflect on what this particular water and all water means for you.
Water, symbol of community, made holy because we are all a part of it, because we bring meaning to it. This is a time of reconnection and new beginning.
We are embodied creatures. Water is embodied. Our bodies are 70% water or 90% water. We swim in it, we bathe in it. We have to have it for survival. It quenches our thirst. As drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together. And so are we so fortunate to find each other. So are we bound together on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean, an unknown future. May the waters that we gather remind us each of what we all bring to this community and of the waters that nourished us even before we were born, waters that continue to give us sustenance and energy for our life journeys.
This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by our commitments and our faith. Let us bless this water together. I invite you to respond with, "This water is sacred." This water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of us. This water is sacred.
May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. This water is sacred.
May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and to the world. This water is sacred.
May its ripples be a reminder that the changes and growth within this community bring movement and transformation to the world beyond our doors. This water is sacred.
May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. This water is sacred.
In moments when we're confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment. This water is sacred.
In moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred.
It is sacred indeed. The water is now blessed. We are thirsty for connection. We're thirsty for connection to ourselves, and thirsty, especially in these days, for connection to others. We're thirsty for connection to the larger life. May we all be filled. May our thirst be quenched. May we be filled with joy and hope and compassion and love. May we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out into our world. What is it that you are thirsting for this day and in these days? I'm going to invite us to receive a blessing from the sacred water that we have brought from our homes and that is connected by the mystery that is to all of our waters in this community. I'm going to invite you to bless yourself with this water however you would like to do that. If you would like to place your hand in it, if you'd like to splash it on your face, put it on your head, splash around in it, however it is that you would like to be blessed by this symbolic sacred water of our community, you are welcome to do so there in the space of your home while we were all connected and while Laura guides us to our time of community meditation and prayer.
There's a river somewhere that flows through the lives of everyone, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, there's a river somewhere that flows through the lives of everyone, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time.
Spirit of life, ground of our being, spirit of love in this community. There is so much hurting in our world today. There's so much sorrow and so much pain, so much fear and uncertainty and confusion. And we gather all of the love and the hope and the strength that lives in this wonderful community. And we send it out now with our energy to those places in our world that need a special touch of hope, of strength, of courage. To those places devastated by fires. To those who are experiencing loss from fires, from COVID, from violence. To all of the communities across our nation that are grappling with division and violence and racism. We send our love and our hope to those who are lonely and are experiencing depression. Those who are in places of fear and worry. We send our hope and our courage to those who are experiencing suffering of economics, of need. And we seek to continue to answer our call to be the hands and the feet and the voice and the heart of love in our world, to bring about justice, to bring about change for good. You're invited in these moments to share your joys and your concerns, your celebrations, your gladnesses, your hopes in the chat box during our time of community meditation and prayer. And so we gather all of our prayers. We gather our meditations. We gather our deepest hopes, our highest joys. We gather our strength and our courage, and we send it out to those places in our world where it is needed. And so that we are reminded that we are as one in this community, and we see each other and we hear each other. Let's close our time of prayer and meditation with our gesture, with one hand on the heart and the energy of love to one another and out to our world. Amen.
There's a river somewhere that flows through the lives of everyone, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time. Yes, there's a river somewhere that flows through the lives of everyone, and it flows through the mountains and the valleys and the meadows of time.
Thank you so much for joining us for our annual Gathering of the Waters service. We're so glad that you have joined us today and hope that you have experienced something that you needed from this special time together. If you know of anyone who needs Zoom support or electronic support or any support, would you let us know that so that we can help make sure that people are getting what they need and are not feeling alone? Please do share our worship link with anyone that you know that could benefit from this time of being together on Sunday mornings. Our posse is back feeding on Wednesday nights our hungry neighbors, and they're collecting water bottles and hats for protection for the sun, and all the details of what they need are in our weekly email that comes out on Thursdays. If you're a newcomer and you're not yet receiving our emails, you can put your information in the chat box or click on the link, and it will take you to a confidential card that will allow us to keep in touch with you and to get to know us better. And Kristen has an announcement.
Yeah, I want to invite you all to a very special new program that starts next Sunday at 1 p.m. It's a series that we're offering called What You Can Do About Climate Change. And the first session, which is next Sunday starting at 1 p.m., will teach you about your carbon footprint and how it can be reduced. So we're putting in the chat the link to more information about that, and you can also email me if you have any questions about it. And I also want to share with you, many of you participated last year in our Gather, Encourage small group ministry that we offered. We are beginning that again very shortly. This year it will be called Gather in Strength. And if you have any, if you want to participate in that, be watching the e-announce. We'll have a registration link very soon for you, or you can contact me for any questions that you have.
For the last few months, we have been experiencing our community remotely, and we have done that in some creative ways, and we have experienced some losses, and we have discovered some new things. The next 2 Sundays, we're going to engage in some processes that will help us take a pause and take stock of where we've been these last few months, where we are, and where we're headed. So you're invited to participate fully in those worship services in the next couple of weeks, because we need your voice to be part of determining where we're headed in the coming months. I also want to take just a moment and say a word about the upcoming election. There are many ways that we can be involved in changing the course of things right now. And I have put some suggestions to that effect in our weekly email, and I invite you to take advantage of those opportunities. We must begin now, if we haven't already, a full court press to working on the elections. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I was participating in some phone banking with UU the Vote. I did that. It was an incredible experience, and I'll be doing that every time that they offer it, which is about every other week from now until the election, and I invite you to join me. All of that information is in your weekly email, and I'll be talking to you more about that this week in our communications. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today, and please stay on for conversations in small groups for our time of coffee hour after our closing song.
We are living neath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humanity, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feeling, finding intuition, my head and my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we were given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
I invite you now, as we receive the blessing, to place the hands in the mysteriously connected windows on Zoom as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. In extinguishing our chalices today, we're reminded that whatever we've received as blessing, as strength, as hope today, may we treasure it and nurture it in our hearts, and then offer it lavishly as so much water flung forth to our world. Blessed be, and amen.